Hello, fellow warriors and peacekeepers. If you are watching this, you are on the path of the Jedi, and this is the way of the Mandalorian. If you don't know me yet, my name is the Mandalorian Jedi, and I am glad you have come to this channel. For those of you who have been on my channel before, you may have noticed that I am wearing a different outfit from normal. This is because one of my friends got me the best Christmas sweater possible for me, and it is the week of Christmas, so I'm wearing this on a temporary basis. Before we go much further, if you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are continuing our adventure into the topic of lightsabers and on to the second segment for the 7 classical forms of lightsaber combat, moving on to the second form, Makashi. Makashi, also known as the Way of the Izalamiri, or the Contention form, was designed by the Jedi Order after the increase in users of lightsabers amongst Force sensitives. As lightsabers became more commonplace in the galaxy, the shortcomings of Shi-Cho, or Form 1, were becoming increasingly evident and outdated. To compensate for these weaknesses, a new form was designed to combat the rising tide of Darksiders in a galaxy often at war between the light and the dark. Makashi is often revered as being the most elegant of all the classical forms of lightsaber combat. The form was wildly popular during the Jedi-Sith Wars, but died out shortly after the start of the Rule of Two era, the believed extinction of the Sith Order in the galaxy. Around the Clone Wars era, battles with lightsabers did become more commonplace, bringing a resurgence in Jedi learning how to use Form 2. What could be said about the form that was considered to be the most elegant of all the classical lightsaber forms? I think Count Dooku said it best when he said, "Finesse, artfulness, economy," when discussing exactly what the form entails. Makashi utilizes precise circling blade work and continues very well-balanced footwork for a fluid style. The footwork often moves back and forth along the same line against the opponent. It is also the most disciplined of all the forms and requires heavy training to achieve mastery. Form 2 tends to be an oddity amongst the other forms of lightsaber combat, as it is one of the few forms that uses most, if not completely, single-handed grip, versus the common two-handed grip used in other forms. Another common oddity in Makashi is that to enhance the fluid style, the curved hilt is preferred to better reach the tight angles and thrusts utilized throughout the velocities. Form 2, whilst preferred as a single grip style, can be utilized in one of the more specialized styles that is closer to a sub-style amongst the other forms, Jarkai. Jarkai is the technique that utilizes either the use of 2 separate lightsabers or a saber staff in combat. The lightsabers can either be 2 classical straight lightsabers, 2 curved hilt lightsabers to better be used with Makashi's fluid and elegant form, 2 Shoto lightsabers, or a Shoto and a classical straight lightsaber. For those of you who are unaware of what a Shoto is, the Shoto is a short-hilted lightsaber, often used in the offhand, or in the case of shorter species such as Atlantic or Tridactyl. Yoda and Grogu are both Tridactyls, and Evan Peel is an example of Atlantic. Link to the wiki for Atlantic below. We briefly discussed the marks of contact in the previous video on Shi-Cho Form 1. If you want to see more on the marks of contact in depth, please move to the previous video on this playlist, and I will link in the description for ease of viewing. Makashi tends to favor 2 of the 9 marks of combat. The 2 marks are Shiak and Sun Diem, and are some of the toughest and most precise marks that a Jedi can use. As a refresher of these 2 marks, Shiak is the mark that is associated with the thrust and aim to incapacitate the victim quickly by taking out the heart. This method is the most preferred method of Makashi users. Dooku even went so far as to state that this contact is the signature move of a Makashi master. The second preferred mark of contact is Sun Tiem, the mark that is designed to either have the Form 2 user's opponent have their weapon be destroyed, or force them to drop and lose their weapons. Form 2 has its strengths and weaknesses, just as in all things, and Makashi has some of the most unique strengths and weaknesses, with a few surprises. To start out, let us start with the strengths. Makashi is one of the most disciplined forms, and whilst not necessarily confirmed, may attribute to one of the other strengths that Form 2 has, but that will be discussed a little later. The form is also one of, if not the most precise and fluid of all the lightsaber forms. Form 2 is resistant to the force powers of others and has a natural affinity in defending against offensive powers. On top of being naturally resistant to force powers of other force sensitives, the form was designed to combat lightsaber combatants, and as such is exceptionally good at defending and attacking lightsaber-wielding opponents. It is also utilized for dueling, making it one of the better forms for one-on-one combat. Due to masters of Form 2 also mastering disarming their opponents, practitioners are exceptionally good at defending their weapons and against being disarmed themselves. There are also a couple of strengths that are tied together. The first is that this form is uncommonly learned and mastered due to a lack of lightsaber-wielding opponents after the defeat of the Sith on Ruusan, and the second is that the form is unique to each practitioner. Leading into the weaknesses, most of the strengths can also be seen as weaknesses in other settings. The form is unique to the practitioner, meaning that each variant will have different strengths and weaknesses based on their experiences. In addition, the lack of lightsaber users means that this form is good, but lacks the ability to really shine since most people use a blaster in the galaxy today. This form is also not good against blaster fire, but this weakness can be overcome with heavy training in deflecting blaster bolts. It is also not great against multiple opponents, especially when combined with Makashi's weakness to blaster fire. This form is also a precise and fluid form, but lacks the power of the other lightsaber forms, especially utilizing a single grip style. A practitioner can easily be overpowered by a stronger opponent. A good example of this would be Anakin overpowering Count Dooku with the much stronger Form 5. It also takes quite a bit of discipline to learn this form, so you better be planning on concentrating heavily on your studies if you're planning on taking this form. Now that you have learned the strengths and weaknesses to help you choose which form you would like, we should go over the most famous practitioners of this form. The most famous is the Jedi Master turned Sith Lord, Count Dooku. He found the other forms to be less refined and disliked the forms that utilized multiple blades, or were sloppy. He used a curved tilt for maximum effect in Form 2. He also taught this to two other prominent practitioners. Asajj Ventress was his assassin and dark acolyte that utilized a dark hide variant of Makashi. Jedi Master Luminara was able to see a more unrefined version of Dooku's during a duel with her. Ventress was a dangerous opponent in Form 2, even being capable of taking on multiple Jedi at once. The final practitioner that I would like to discuss isn't even a Force sensitive, but a cyborg, the fearsome General Grievous. Grievous was known for mixing forms for his preferred style, but still heavily influenced by Dooku's Form 2 variant. But that is all I have for you today. I had fun researching for these topics and making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. What do you think of the current lightsaber forms that I've discussed, and which would you rather have? Please leave a comment down below, or let me know what you would like to see in future videos and how they could be better. My next video will continue this series with the third form of lightsaber combat, Soresu. Until my next video, my Mandalorians and Jedi Knights, this is the way to follow the path. May the Force be with you.